Hello science fans, welcome back to Science Fun with Austin. Today's episode is a viewer request from Corey in Mississippi who asks if Ultra EverDry works the way it's supposed to. Well, it turns out that Ultra EverDry is about $150 a quart, not sold to consumers, and it actually really only works if you have a paint booth. So we did find the generic alternative, Rust-Oleum Never Wet. So let's take a look at how superhydrophobic coating actually works. Alright, so we've applied our Never Wet coating to a few test articles. We have our Step 1 base coat and our Step 2 top coat. We've applied both of those and let those cure. We have a few things that it says it will work on, like metal, wood, and plastic. And a couple of things that it doesn't recommend that you try it on, such as electronics. Here we have an old keyboard. And clothing. Here we have a boot and a washcloth that we coated in Never Wet. I thought the clothing warning was kind of interesting though, because if you look, it clearly depicts Never Wet being used on a boot. So let's see what happens when we try it. Alright. Let's find out how superhydrophobic our superhydrophobic coating actually is. First off, we'll start with the wood ruler. And you can see the water does actually run right off of it. So I would say that it pretty much performs as advertised here. Try plastic. Again, you can see the water pretty much running right off the plastic as advertised. Try the metal. No water actually sticking on the metal, whereas if you look at the untreated backside, it stays wet. So I'd say on the recommended surfaces, the superhydrophobic coating performs as advertised. Let's try some non-recommended surfaces. Here's the boot that we saw in the advertising picture. Wow, that is pretty much dry. I would say that's a success, although clearly you can see the boot is discolored a little bit by the application. Finally, let's try our keyboard. You can see the water runs right off of it. And finally, we treated a washcloth, so let's see what happens when you Never Wet a washcloth. Still dry. You can soak the back side, but the front side is actually water repellent. That might be a pretty decent prank. And for fun, here's the box that we actually use to control the overspray. And you can see that that has been rather effectively waterproof. I guess you could make a cardboard box into a bowl or something this way. Alright, now to see if compare the generic version to the branded version, we're going to see if the Never Wet is oleophobic. Supposedly, Ultra EverDry is both hydrophobic and oleophobic, which is kind of unusual, since hydrophobic materials typically have a long hydrocarbon chain at the end that repels water, but tends to attract oil. So let's see if the Never Wet can actually repel oil, or if it just beads up on the surface. And that appears to be a differentiating factor. The vegetable oil will coat the never wetted surface. Whereas the water, again, beads up and rolls right off. So that is the difference between a $12 coating and a $150 coating. Until next time, have fun, science fans!